In today's show, we're going to talk about hiding your SharePoint lists when you're building your Power Apps. So we all know that when you build a Power App and you have SharePoint as your data source, your users have to have access to that backend data source. And with a little poking around, they can find it in the SharePoint site. So in today's show, we're going to talk about how to hide that just a little bit better in a way that I hadn't thought of. Should be fun. But first, here's our intro. Hi, my name is Shane Young with PowerApps 911. Those guys. And today, we're going to talk about hiding your SharePoint list. And so what we're going to do is we're going to write a Power Automate flow, hit the SharePoint Rest API, make one tiny little call, and then once we make that call, all will be done. As part of this, we'll show you kind of where that gets hidden from, and more importantly, where it is not hidden from. It's not perfect, but it's another step better. And if you're wondering, why or what, remember there's two different ways that we build Power Apps that we use SharePoint, right? So one is we build a standalone Power App, and then we use SharePoint as our back end. And so when we do that, SharePoint is our data source. The user of the Power App has to have access to that SharePoint list. So if they want, and they can find it, they can go around your Power App and just go work with that data directly. So what we're going to concentrate on today is a little bit about making it harder. Now the other way, just so we're telling the whole story, the other way that people will use SharePoint Power Apps is they'll go to SharePoint, the browser experience, and they'll customize their SharePoint forms with Power Apps. And so when they customize the SharePoint form, right, they're really using the Power App just to make that SharePoint list, that SharePoint browser experience better. So two different ways to do it, but we're going to talk about how to hide those SharePoint lists when you're doing the first method, because that's quite frankly what we probably do 99% of the time around here at PowerApps 911. And I just had to scratch my nose. But then so we're on the same page, so small infomercial, I apologize, but I am doing a upcoming Power Apps and Power Automate class for SharePoint people. So it's designed just for SharePoint people who want to be better using the platform. That is coming up in September, so about a month from now. And there's always an on-demand version of that. So go check that out at training.poweraapps911. Okay, enough of the commercial, enough of that. Let's switch over to my desktop and take a look. Okay, so over here on my desktop, we have got a SharePoint site and we've got a list that we want to hide, right? So if you look down here, I have a SharePoint customers list. And so in here, I don't know, this was one of the lists we used to build one of the 200 plus apps we've built together. And so I looked at this list and I'm like, man, I don't want this data to be easily discoverable if a user came to this site. So there's two things we want to do, right? One is we want to make sure we get it out of things like navigation, out of view all site content, right? If we go to site contents right here, we would see customers, right? See you right there, right? So we want to get it out of there. We also want to make sure that we get it out of search, so that if they go up here to the search bar and they're like, hey, search for customers, right? Then it's like, oh, you have a SharePoint list called customers. Oh, that's a different one, but I promise I have a SharePoint list called customers. Let's just search again. Customers, you see the list. There you go. So it returns as the first option, right? So this is one of the challenges, is your user can get to all of this directly if they want to. To get rid of this, for the SharePoint site indexing, you can just go flip a switch pretty manually, but what I really wanted to do is I wanted to make this truly as hidden as possible. And so in order to make it more hidden, I was having a conversation with Haniel and Luke here, and they said, hey, one of the ways that you can do this is that you can use PnP PowerShell in order to do that, right? You can go in, run some PnP PowerShell, it'll hide a list, and it'll disappear from over here. Oh, not there. Not there. It will disappear from over here on the left and from the site contents. I was like, kind of cool, but most of my viewers don't want to do PnP PowerShell. I'm a PowerShell guy. I like PowerShell. It's all right. So I said, can we do it with Flow? And if PnP PowerShell does it, it does it by hitting the REST API. I know how to hit the REST API from Flow. So what do I do? If we go over here, we just need to craft a very simple flow. I just want a manual trigger because I just wanted to do this once, so manually trigger it. And we're going to use the send an HTTP request to SharePoint. So this action, right, you just go here, add an action. Oh, put your cursor here before you type in the word SharePoint. SharePoint, and then send an HTTP request to SharePoint. That's all you need. You need that one action. This is going to do everything we want. And so then once we've got that action, we need to choose where is the list we want to hide. So in my case, it is site/PA. For the method, you want to post, right? You want to write something to SharePoint. We want to send some JSON to SharePoint so it makes changes. So you're going to post. Remember, the other thing that you often will do over here is get. I want to get some data from SharePoint. Those are the two options you have, but we're going to post. Now I need you to put in the URL, right? So it's going to be /_API web list get by title. And so the first time I did this, I did it for a list called test UF. You do not want that. We want to hide, what do we want to hide? We want to hide customers, right? Customers with an S, okay? And we could just go to the list. And so let's just copy customers so we can't mess it up. The reason I used test UF the first time, if you're wondering, you probably weren't, but I want to make sure that if there were spaces, how it would react, and it doesn't need any of the spaces. So because you're putting it in a single quote, it's protecting you if your name has spaces and other types of characters in it. But there you go. So for you, these are the two things that you have to get unique for you, right? These two are different for you. You obviously have a different SharePoint site. You obviously have a different list name. After that, you can tell this little thing on the right to go away. You can just straight up copy everything else you see from here. So we're going to have to do a method of merge, accept, content type, if match, star. And so you need all of this because if you think about it, in the past when we've done this, like we've created something or done all the work, when we were just creating a new, we weren't merging. But what merge is really going to do is say, hey, we're going to make these changes, but we're not going to change other facets of the list. We're not going to change the description, the title, any of its other values. We're just merging in, we're just changing these couple fields. And so the two fields we're going to change is we're going to set the property of hidden to true. So just like that, right? Remember, you're going to copy this verbatim, or if you're a subscriber, you can just go copy a subscriber to the training site. Then you can just get this download directly. But so you're going to set hidden to true, and you're going to set no crawl to true. So hidden to true is going to remove it from all of the web places, right? So it's going to remove it from seeing it over in the navigation. It's going to remove it from seeing all site contents. And then no crawl is going to remove it from the search index. So that way people can't go searching your SharePoint site to try and find where you hid this list either. That's it. That little chunk, that one simple action is going to do everything that you guys need in order to get rid of this. So let's try it. Let's run it. I've got another action down here. We're going to talk about that one in a second, but this is all you need. This is what you came for the video for. So we're going to save. All right, we're saved. We're going to do a test. We're just going to manually trigger it, test. And remember, that's the reason I like the manually trigger a flow, so I don't have to do something. I want this one thing to run one time. Run my flow. Done. There you go. Our flow ran successfully. You can see our actions got the little green check mark. And so now if we go back over to SharePoint, let's refresh, or let's just go back to the home. So if we look over here, we do not see the customers list. I do not believe. If you see it, you're better than me, but I do not see customers in the navigation. It used to be there. And then secondly, if we go here to site contents and we scroll down, right, CU, so we see customer list, but not customers, right? Customers with an S is what we hid, not customer list. So from a user discovering it in the browser, even if they come directly to the SharePoint site, poof, it's gone. What is interesting is if we go up here, if we knew that the name of the list was customers, oh, I was expecting that to work. Oh, it's PA list. Sorry, if I knew this exact URL, I'm just going to copy it so I don't mess it up. Let's go paste that over here. If you know the exact URL, you can get to it. If we go over to PowerApps, go to PowerApps, let's go make a new one. So file, or here, we'll just add to this one, right? So in here, we're like, hey, add a data source, add data, search for SharePoint, be annoyed that I can't spell SharePoint. So there we go, there's SharePoint. If we look over here, PowerApps videos, and we're, oh, customers is spelled with a C. So customers is gone from here as well. What if we search for it? Still gone. Good, good. Interestingly enough, though, if you know the name, so we know that the name is customers, right? I think we can still add it. So and that's good, right? Because the idea here is that you, the builder, created it. You still want to be able to work with it. You still want to be able to add it as a data source, but you don't want somebody to be able to trip over it and find it. So by knowing the name, you can add it, which I think brings me to a point. You know, in the app that we built, it might be easy if someone was really, really trying hard to find this, right? They might guess that it's customers. They might try typing that in. So if you're really trying to hide it even better, I would make sure I name this SharePoint list customers 82175 or something, right? I would put some bogus data that was unguessable with it. So then that way they could never guess the name. Because remember, this isn't security, right? We are not locking them out of it. They still have access to it. We are just hiding it from them. But we've made it now they can't find it in the SharePoint browser and they can't find it from PowerApps. And I guess just to be totally complete, let's go over here and make sure that they can't find it from Flow. So we'll go over here, we'll say add an action. We'll search for SharePoint again. And we'll say get items, right? Let's do items. So this is what they'd be after. And so if they said, all right, I know it's in the PA site. I don't know how they know it, but they knew it was here. And so then now if they go to the drop down, once again, as you can guess, ta-da, it is hidden from here as well. So very well hidden. Which brings me to my next point, right? It does me no good to tell you it's hidden if I don't show you how to find it also, right? So how could they find it? I figured out 2 ways so far to find it. So one was I went back to PowerShell. And so in PowerShell, you can do get, let's just quit screen first, quit screen, get PNP list. And so if I do get PNP list and I look in here, it will show up, there it is, so customers. So if your users knew how to use PowerShell and knew what they were looking for, in theory, they could find it with PowerShell. So I wanted to show you that. So that's one way that they could still find it, or you could find it if you just need it. The second way that they can find it, right? And then this fun, I might show you even the ways to circumvent the fun. I think this is nice to me. Maybe not. The other way that I figured out I could find it, I was like, hey, if REST API can giveth, the REST API probably taketh. And so sites PA, I did a get here, web list, the standard headers. And so if we do this, and we now, let's get rid of this one real quick, delete this, that's broken. And so now if we do another test, you're going to see that that second action down there, run the flow, very successful, very fast. If we go down here and say click to download on our outputs and we search for customers, you can see that title customers is right here. So still ways to get at it. It's not security. This is just better hiding, right? And remember, this is one of those topics that's going to be in my, it's in my SharePoint class today. It'll be in the live version of the class as well. We're going to go into more things that we can do to make this harder. But at the end of the day, they have to have access, right? So there you go. That is what I have got for you guys today. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully it gets the brain turning a little bit, right? Like this is interesting. I thought this was a pretty big deal. And I kind of came up with this as I was working my way towards, I've got a really complicated app that I've been building piece by piece for you guys. Hopefully we're going to demo that maybe next Monday's video. I don't know. It's a big app, but I've got a new banking app that I've been building with a bunch of security features. And so this was one of my, right, this isn't security, but this is one of my, make it safer features, I guess. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, with all that, I'm going to say thanks and have a great day. Before you go, be sure to click on the subscribe button over here so that way you'll be notified when new videos come out. If you need any help or you want to work together, whether your problem is big or small, check us out at PowerApps 911. We do it all. I rhymed. Or if you're looking for more formal training offerings, we have those linked up here somewhere. So check them out. Thanks and have a great day.